Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are back for another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. I am your host, as always, the red flag waving Chad Pardo. Joining me, as always, is the yellow flag having Marcus Green. Marcus, how the hell are you?
Good, man. Yeah, always down to throw it and blow the whistle if I see something going left.
Now, I, for one, am all about the challenge, apparently. So, last week we did our 10 favorite wrestlers that remind us of Halloween. This week we're doing 10 favorite costumes a la wrestlers do as for Halloween. Now, last week the emphasis was on who brings you the spooky, the ookiest of the ooks. This week it's more about who do you want to pretend to be? And I have a feeling Macho Man's going to be on our lists because like who the fuck doesn't want to have like the Star Spangled Awesome banners? Not banners. What are those? Tassels hanging from your arms, and the hat and the sunglasses and the Slim Jims and the oh yeah, Macho Man Randy Savage is here. Of course, for me, if I ever got the chance, it would definitely be Zorak. He's not a wrestler, but he did fuck with Randy Savage on an episode of Space Ghost Coast to Coast, so I feel like it's covered.
Messed with cartoons, and he tried to beat up Spider-Man. It's playtime.
Right? Like, that man was layered, and he sold meaty goodness. Gotta love the Macho Man. So, yeah, we were going to have a little bit more on this week's show, but we're going to push all that to next week. Next week, we're going to talk about Sting being involved in Great Muda's last match. I think it's his last match. I want to say it's his last match. I could be wrong.
I know it's his last run,
Yes.
for sure. Yeah, which
it's-
made that appearance on what you call almost. I just wish that audience knew, like, had the reverence that they needed for, because they didn't. I don't think they gave him the pop that he deserved. But AEW has like a bubble audience a lot of times.
I feel like that may have been due to the fact that Muda's music wasn't exactly the most well known. Like he's got a few themes that are like, oh, that's Muda,
Yeah,
and this wasn't one of them. So like there wasn't the initial pop. Plus he came out in his I don't know what that his traditional Japanese coverings is the best way I can put it. So
that mask was A stuff.
yeah, oh his whole look is ace. He's always been top. He's always been top tier.
Yeah.
So that Sing Muda segment was great. I actually watched Dynamite this week, all the way through even.
Yeah, man, it's definitely a variety show. I'll tell you that.
The Acclaimed winning the tag titles was great, only because I love Anthony Bowens. But I'm not vibing with the scissor me daddy ass stuff. Like I'm good with that.
Which which has a significant reason why the audience is vibing with it for whatever. But that's that audience.
Mm-hmm. And hey,
Bowens
is getting over. You know me and Anthony Bowens. I love that dude.
Oh, that dude, yeah.
So I'm glad to see him getting over. That doesn't mean that I'm completely comfortable with Billy Gunn being called daddy ass.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there, which I was never really into the Acclaimed and Matt Caster's. A lot of his rhymes have left a lot to be desired. He's obviously, I think, done some things to improve upon that, thankfully. But I didn't really click with him until they had that match, I think, it All Out. And you kind of organically felt the crowd turn over for him. Because I'm a Swerve and our Glory guy. And I think it's been fun watching those guys have, successful dysfunction. But it's always fun to watch something organic like the Acclaim's success happen like that. So, those guys deserve it, and hopefully they get a solid run out, and hope, your boy Bowen stays healthy.
Yeah, and with Max Caster, I think he's kind of like a 35-year-old pretending to be 18 in high school kind of vibe. I could see him walking up to like a group of like 17-year-olds going, "What's up, fellow youths?"
It's weird because I was talking to somebody else, and they was like, it's weird that a guy, an openly gay performer and apparently a virgin is being managed by daddy ass.
Wait, Anthony Bowens is a virgin?
No, he's the openly gay guy.
Oh, Max Caster's the virgin.
Yeah,
Is he really a virgin? Because like he looks like one.
I don't know, but I think that he's unintentionally selling it.
So yeah, he's 33 and he acts like he's 18. He's very much Steve Buscemi going up, "Hello, fellow teenagers."
When he gets on it, he doesn't go find a chick. He writes rhymes.
Oh God, people like him are the worst. Marcus, they're the fucking worst. So that was interesting. Jericho winning the Ring of Honor title was definitely interesting. Which is ironic because like 20 years ago, he would have been like the perfect guy to be in Ring of Honor with like his work rate and his ability to cut promos and all that. So like, it's ironic he won the title. And I remember when he first signed with AEW, he's like, "Yeah, he's gonna do like an 8 month run, then he's gonna go on tour, and then maybe come back in a year." That was a funny joke you guys told once upon a time. And hey, I repped for Sting well into his 60s, still going. So it's like, I'm not going to sit here and thumb my nose down at Jericho for being 52 and still wanting to be world champion. Because if AEW gave me the option of booking the show, I would be like, Sting wins the title. Boom, Sting wins the
Yeah,
title. Sting wins every title.
yeah. And shout out to Sting and this young lady in the giving off Shenom realness. They took two gnarly table bumps to the head in that
So,
rampage. Yeah,
yeah, the Julia Hart one was really fucking scary because she
yeah.
missed the table.
hmm
Like,
Caught
her
enough of it to it caught enough of it to make it like, oh, okay, at least she caught a piece of it, but she also hit her head.
her
Yeah,
ass went through the table, which tells me two things. One, she took that bump cold,
yeah.
and like she didn't move. Like she either she was legitimately knocked out or she sold the hell out of it. Because like if I had that bump, I would have been holding the back of my head going, "Yeah, that hurt." And two, that ass is nothing but a dime piece because it broke the table and it's tiny, but you know it's hard.
That ass is assing.
Right? Like
But
that she must be working with Billy Gunn. Cause he's an
uh,
ass man. Bow, bow.
yeah, but Sting took any because anytime Sting takes a bump like that, like, oh God damn it, Steve.
The craziest thing is like that dude still moves so well for being in his 60s. It's ridiculous. The world needs to protect Steve Borden.
And kudos to them doing the logical thing that you would do in that scenario. Like, ain't no way we finna go head up with this, but this Matthews kid and freaking Brody King. We need to jump them doing that very unnecessarily elaborate entrance.
So let me ask you this. Do we see the House of Black continue with Julia Hart in the lead and Brody King? Do you want to see that?
I'd prefer that they actually did that. Like I think, like I said, it came off brilliant when she, as much as I just got ragged on their interest, it looked phenomenal with her in the middle like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Brody King and Buddy Matthews, I think they could really put in some work specifically now, just going for the tag titles, depending on whatever's going on with Black. But if Matthews isn't going to be there, I guess they could. I mean, Brody King isn't a bad foundational start for a new group. Um, but I just don't want the thing to dissolve because I feel like this could be great for her because I feel like she could garner almost as much attention as some of the girls that's actually wrestling on the show with her just her aura and her demeanor and this new look, which is difficult a lot of times for some of these girls to find their footing like that even when they are wrestling. So
She definitely has a presence to her.
yeah.
I think you could rename the group the Dark Hearts.
Mm.
I think that works.
Who
She
you adding?
also straight up stole the look from a Fortnite character. So
I like well,
I'm
I
not
mean
mad
they
about it.
base I mean, they're taking all the skins anyway, so to the point
Right.
where now Super Saiyans are in the game. So at this point, everything's being whole. But should they lose Matthews and keep Brody King, who you adding? I would imagine you're not gonna start selecting people from the Dark Order as draftees.
Evil Uno would make sense just out of the character element being, of a darker character. I think if we're going with just any character, the first name that makes the most sense would be Pentagon or whatever the fuck he's going by these days. But I feel like he's too much of he's too whipped by the 5-star system to still be what he used to be.
Mm.
So I would probably go with a heavy hitter, and I would find Brody King's equal, and I would probably go with Powerhouse Hobbs.
I was gonna say, I tried to do the guy some justice, but again, Hobbs trumps him, which is why I think he's getting all of the time in the stores and what you call it's not. I was gonna potentially suggest Cage, and you laughed at it as I imagine you would have. Here's a wild card. Would you throw Abaddon in there?
Mm, it depends what you want the group to be. Is it a stable? Is it a tag team with a manager? Because those are vastly different things.
Yeah.
What is Julia Hart going for? Is she a wrestler? If she's the face of the stable and she wrestles, then sure, throw Abaddon in there. If she's the mouthpiece and it's a stable, sure, throw Abaddon in there. If it's just a tag team with her or a trio with her, then no. Because it's all about finding ways of making specific characters stand out. And even if you wanted to add a female element to it, I feel like Abaddon's too well defined as what she is. And we don't know what this group is. Like, Abaddon in Impact with Rosemary would make sense. But who is this Dark Heart? Like who is she? Is she just like a cultist? Then I don't think Abaddon fits, because Abaddon is kind of monstrous in a lot of ways. And I feel like that would be, it's like throwing Michael Myers into Godzilla. Like, sure, both films have wanton destruction and murder, but they're vastly different genres. And I feel like putting Abaddon in a cultist group would be vastly different genres. You're going like with Michael Myers to Halloween Town, so to speak. Although in that instance, that would be interesting, because I'd like to see how Marnie would deal with a slasher. Like Freddy Krueger goes to Halloween Town. That's the movie Disney needs to make. Oh, Freddy Krueger goes to Halloween Town.
That actually would be a great little skit because Michael would just assume it's like, okay, well, clearly it's Halloween, so I'm essentially in the right space. But then eventually he realized that these are the actual creatures.
Takes off his mask and he's just smiling because it's all of his people finally.
Like he would have a hell of a time with Benny. That'll be a hilarious taxi ride.
You're gonna try to stab me? Don't you get it? I'm nothing but skin and bones. Minus skin.
Yeah, he runs into the steamer, the freaking fat ghost. I did that. I
Oh
did
God, I
that.
forgot about that. How does a ghost lose weight? Ugh, that's a riddle. That's a joke I gotta come up with an answer for. Who would you put in this Dark Heart stable?
It's interesting because it's stable. And apparently, so many people want to jump ship now. Um, who could use? No, not him. He wouldn't fit. Too much in his own ego. Who would I
Are you
put in
thinking Ethan
there?
Page?
No, I mean he needs to do something because he apparently kicked a drunkard character the other week. It was funny, but Paige is still an obscurity to me. Uh, let's see, who did they have Ethan Page team paired with? Uh, oh, Scorpio Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
He might potentially be somebody, but again, like I said, he looked awkward next to Brody King. Like I said, I would want Cage, but he just doesn't fit anywhere. Like it just like what is he gonna do? Go there and you put some black paint around his eyes or whatever, and then he's still gonna wear his Wolverine outfit. That's not
So here's two
evil.
names. If you want to do a trio, why not the Butcher and the Blade?
I mean, you're not wrong. They're not doing anything else, and I mean, The Blade looks scary enough because he's like he just won't go completely bald like he used to. He's Hogan in it.
Oh no, which one's which though?
Yeah, the Butcher is the guy that looks like a thicker Silas Young, and the Blade is Allie's husband.
Okay,
Yeah, Braxton Sutter.
that's
Talk
what it
about a
is.
throwback.
Oh my god, what a name!
Braxton Sutter.
I can't even picture his face anymore. I just keep thinking of Tommaso Ciampa.
Oh,
Oh jeez, like they got talent too on that roster. Like even if here's the thing, like they're so deep with talent. Even if they lost Andrade and whoever else, it's not like it's gonna make a dent. So it's really about finding like which one of the younger elevation dark guys or dark elevation guys you want to roll with. Because I think there's plenty of talent there that you can bring up. Like Kip Sabian's not doing anything. Could do something with him. Although he's got to change his name because that's a fucking terrible name. You could do something with All Ego. I mean, Danhausen would be a great hanger on for this group. Yes, you're very dark and very evil, just like Danhausen. But then he always gets his ass beat because he's not dark or evil or anything. He's just really nice. I think that would be great. Like that's the direction I would go in is have his
yeah,
first feud be with this group, or have their first feud be with Danhausen, I should say. Danhausen
yeah, but
and Orange Cassidy and
yeah,
Hook.
it's funny because we wacky bookers, so I just see a bunch of segments of Hook, you know, having a lot of success and them going out to bars and all the women kind of just fawning over this mysterious anime character looking kid at the bar minding his own business, and then like Danhausen trying to be like a spooky wingman because he got his slacks on and the blazer, but he still got the Danhausen paint on. So he's trying to be a wingman, but he's trying to curse the women into being like into talking to Hook.
I'm
Meanwhile,
going the
Hook's
other direction with this.
just
I like the idea, but I would go with the idea of Danhausen trying to protect Hook from all of the cursed women. Trying to theorize that if Hook were to engage in copious activities with these women, that he would lose his hookness. So he would curse them to leave, and Hook wanting to hook up, ironic, would get mad at Danhausen because they would always leave when Danhausen starts to do his thing, and then Hook would just stare at him, and then he's and then Danhausen could say something like, "Listen, Hook, Danhausen wants to help. We find you groupies. We'll call them hookers."
yeah, I like your idea better. Hookers.
And then Hook leaves, and Danhausen goes, "What did Danhausen say? Did he say something wrong?"
And then he gets left with the check. Love it.
Danhausen looks at the check and goes, "Danhausen has no monies. You give Danhausen these monies?" And he holds it up. "You give Danhausen $300? No, that's what you owe. You owe Danhausen." So what else happened on? Because this was the Arthur Ashe show.
We were
If
talking
we,
about on Dynamite.
yeah, I forget what they were calling it.
Yeah, obviously we had the great black
You can get
Blackpool
it.
Fight Club.
There it is.
Yeah, Blackpool Fight Club. There it is.